Coach, just confidence-wise, like this time compared to last year, how much do you feel like your staff, your offense, knowing Caden's the guys, kind of grown over that time?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's night and day from last year, from a sense of just confidence and mostly more than anything continuity. From the staff down, from the players. When you've got a quarterback that knows what's going on and knows what we're doing, that kind of just bleeds to the rest of the team. And then, staff-wise, this time last year, if there was a mistake or something happened, I was trying to get there as fast as I could to correct it. Now, before I can even get words out of my mouth, Coach Freeman's fixing it or Dyrell's fixing it. So that piece of it is just totally different, and it's allowed us to, try to accelerate a little bit as far as what we're doing, but at the same time, never doing too much too fast.
You guys add Mike Wright, obviously, to the quarterback room. How do you balance his talent, but also Caden's the guy? So I don't know, how do you balance that?
Yeah, it's it's a deal where Mike was brought here for a reason. He was brought to add depth and to do those types of things. And if we ever got in a pinch, get him in the game. I don't foresee anything to where we're ever playing the two quarterback system or anything like that. That's just not something, I really believe in. It's kind of the old saying, like if you got two quarterbacks, you don't have one. And, I think you just mess with the rhythm of your starter if you kind of do some of that stuff. So Mike will find his role. That's the thing I love about Mike Wright. He has great leadership qualities. He is a great teammate. He's one of those guys. He is the opposite of an energy vampire. He brings great energy every day. And so, Mike will have a right on this team. He'll have a role on this team, whether it's special teams, offense, whatever it may be, but we'll find him a role somehow.
As far as Caden goes, obviously had the offseason surgery and kind of ramped up back to full speed at the end of spring. How would you assess where he's at this point?
Yeah, just miles ahead of where he was a year ago. Just doing a great job of just trying to soak everything in, and he's asking questions like crazy. He's asking questions like a guy that just got here, and that's exciting because he's just constantly wanting to learn. Injury-wise, he got to get those reps in spring, which I think was huge. There was no getting back into the rhythm of things. Started fall camp. He hit the summer run and been the same through fall camp. So couldn't be more excited where he's at and just his development.
With the offense, what changes do you make? How does it keep evolving versus, just getting more consistent?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us that you would see from last year to this year is really internally. We've changed a lot of signals up, a lot of calls up front. We have a common opponent. We just played a team in the bowl game that we'll play first game of the year. We actually have several players, on Campbell's team that were been here the last year, and so you never want to just stay status quo with those type of things. So we spent a lot of time in changing that up, just to, I guess, keep our advantage in that regard. But we're always finding new ways because it's different personnel. And for us, it's finding the best ways to use our pieces and the pieces to the puzzle that we have. And so that's the biggest thing for us is finding what our guys do best and trying to hone in and craft those things.
Coach, as far as young or new guys to the team this year, is there anyone that's really stood out to you that you see making an impact we didn't see last year?
A couple guys in that receiver room that really, really excited about. A couple guys that are new in Tyler Johnson and Quez Petaway. They're not loud guys, which I love, which is sometimes opposite of a receiver. They just come to work every day. And a guy that has been in our program since we've been here is a guy, Malik Leverett. Could not be more proud of him. Like his just demeanor is exactly what you want. It's a workman mentality. He's come to work every day and just kept his head down, and he keeps making plays, keeps showing up. And that's what we tell our guys. If you want to play for us, if you want to play on this unit, you've got to build trust. And Malik has built a ton of that over the last couple weeks.
You got Marlon and London coming back in the backfield. Just how have you seen them grow since last season?
Yeah, they've been awesome. They're both, Marlon is such a great leader in that room. He's the older guy. And London's done a great job too. The thing I love about them is they're kind of the same way. They just come to work every day, but I can start to see them grabbing the young guys because that's a really underrated, talented room. Just all the way down, DeJuan Lacey has flashed, Eddie Love's flashed, TJ has flashed, and so those guys helping bring those young guys around and get them going, I think, is the best thing. But they've just been consistent. Marlon and London have, and that's what we ask from those guys. They don't have to make the home run play every time. Just be consistent and do what we're trying to get accomplished.
You guys do a lot of different things up front, especially because you're an RPO team. A lot of turnover on the offensive line this year from a year ago. How have the new guys who you presume are going to be the ones who've stepped into those roles?
Yeah, I think that the nice thing that we have right now is, I can sit here and tell you that we've got a defined guy at every spot, but we have multiple people at a couple of spots that are question marks for us that, honestly, I trust them to go play right now. Left guard, Kyle and Panda going back and forth at it. And that was something we didn't have a year ago. We didn't have 7, 8 guys, 9 guys that we trusted to put in the football game. And that to me is where we're farther along as far as, there's at this level, a lot of times there's a huge drop off when you get to that second team offensive line. And that to us right now is not the case at all. Like Jason Tarpey is having his best camp right now, running with the 2s at tackle. He's a guy that has put himself in a position to go play in games for us. And if we're able to do that up front, we're a little different in that regard, being what we are. Like, we'll rotate those guys up front because, if I have 2 guys I can trust up front, if I can get them to go play 50 snaps, 45 snaps a game, that just means they're more fresh as the game goes on. And so that's something that a year ago, no chance we would have been able to do, but I feel like we're in a way better spot to be able to do it.
When you look at the offense as a whole, how would you assess kind of the effort and intensity you've seen so far to this point in camp?
Yeah, I'm really, really excited. And the main reason being is that this year, we're in a lot better spot as far as being a player-led unit. You've got guys like Caden, Anthony Smith, Yannick Smith, Marlon, London, McCrimmon, Kojo. Those guys have been in our system for a year now, and they're doing a great job of pushing it every day and having a sense of urgency. We say in our first unit meeting, we're in a race against the time and against ourselves of how great do we want to be, and we put a slide up there, our first unit meeting, and said, good is the enemy of great. Do we want to be a good unit or do we want to be a great unit? Because to be a great unit takes certain things, and to this point, we're doing those things at a pretty good level, and we got to keep our foot on the gas.
Is there anything specifically you're looking to learn from the scrimmage upcoming?
As always, it's us establishing the run game. Those guys up front doing a great job, backs running through tackles. That's the thing that's the common theme you hear probably from Coach Harrell from the defensive side. Like when those backs get in one-on-one situations, who's going to make people miss? And then just finding the guys that make the routine plays. It's like I said a second ago, like we don't need guys to make freak show plays. We just need guys to make consistent plays over and over and over again.
At the end of last week, Coach Harrell praised how Raheem Jeter has grown. What specifically do you feel like he's grown on from last season?
Everything he does is just so much faster as far as processing things, getting the ball out of his hand, and the coach hit it on the head. I could not be more proud of Raheem. And like I said, we'll talk about, like, if you want to play for us, we need to trust you. We need to trust that you're going to do the right thing at the right time. And Raheem is another one of those guys that's been in our program, been in the system now. And he's a guy that I fully trust to go in there and operate and put the ball where it's supposed to be.
DeCirio and Javante, it's clear they've got the talent. So, what's the next step for them in putting it all together on game day now?
Yeah, I think it comes down to consistency. Those 2 guys are probably the 2, pound for pound, freakiest athletes we have on the team. You're talking about 2 6'4" individuals that are 240 pounds. Both of them, I think, touched 21 miles per hour this summer. It's just them having consistency, showing up in the passing game, showing up in the run game, because we just ask those guys to do so much, and that's a hard position to play for us in this offense, and I don't think that position gets enough credit for that. So we put a lot on them, and it's just consistency. They got to be able to do it all, and if they don't, it's hard to keep them in the game. But to this point, they've both done it. They both are having their best camp since I've been around them, especially Javante. Obviously, I've got history with him. He's in just a different place mentality-wise. He's got a great personality, but sometimes he struggles honing it in, and he's done that to this point. We've got to keep going with him.
One more question.
Coach, this is your second year here. Just how more comfortable are you calling plays or going through this spring than compared to last year?
Yeah, I think having the ability to just reflect back and obviously do a ton of self-scout on us last year, seeing how we grew, you know, not only after the season, but throughout the season, how we got better, how I got better. And I think that's what I want to continue to do, even through fall camp. You know, what are ways that I can continue to grow as a play caller. But just like I said earlier, just so much more comfortable just because of the continuity. Like having the same exact offensive staff we had sitting in that room a year ago, like that's so undervalued because we're all speaking the same language. You know, I don't feel like I'm having to fix 1,000 things. I trust those coaches to go do it for me and say exactly how we want it. And so just couldn't be more comfortable and just excited for, you know, obviously the players we have, but also the staff and just the continuity there.